All right. We're gonna go ahead and play a couple of these tunes, and then we're going to start. Sorry if I'm a little late. Appreciate it. What's up? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the whole wide world. I want to wish everyone a happy new year. The reason why I'm saying it because it's the first transition series of 2025. Yes. Before I start, I want to give shout outs to those who have supported me, supported the channel, all the new subscribers that has popped up, as of this month. Thank you so much for your support. Please keep spreading the word. Let everybody know that Househead Speaks, that's who I am. Do these transition series every third Saturday of the month, noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's always live. So today I'm going to show you how I get down when it comes to disco and disco house. Now, the reason why I put the two things together because for those who know the history of disco, disco was this awesome dance genre that happened around about in the 70s, around about in the 70s to the 80s, and then of course, there was this big surge of heavy metal, rock and roll came out, And then they had a big stink about disco. So, of course, there was a big Kadu happening at Comiskey Park, well, the old Comiskey Park here in Chicago, where they literally took radio stations, took disco records and blew them up, trying to say that we're killing off disco. Disco will be destroyed. Little did they know there was a man by the name of the late godfather of house music, Frankie Knuckles, that came with this new genre of music called house music, which brought back mostly all subgenres, including disco. And now it's called disco house. What is disco house, you may ask? For those who don't know, I'll give you a brief little summary of what disco house is. Disco house music is a subgenre of house music that blends elements of classic disco from the 1970s and 1880s with modern house music production techniques. It is characterized by its uplifting and groove vibe, often featured the following key elements. Now, I won't be going through the key elements here, but what I will do, I will put those key elements on the description box below so you can read those babies for yourself. Now, what we are going to do here is I am going to show you how I approach mixing disco or disco house music. And I will be referring those to, I would probably referring it as disco house because it's a combination of the two anyway. So it really doesn't matter. You know, now if you go to sites like Beatport and Track Source, they will categorize it differently. If I'm not mistaken, Beatport categorizes it as disco house, whereas Track Source will categorize it as soul, funk, and disco. But just note that it doesn't matter which category that is tagged on, it's disco house music. Now, what you heard on the intro is the first track I played called Soul City Walkin' is Miggity Disco Slap by, of course, Steve Mini Mixer, Steve Mickey Maestro. Sorry if I butcher your name. He's a Chicago staple here. And then, of course, the track that I brought into was Chimari featuring Elements of Life, tribute to Patrick Adams, mix by none other than the maestro himself, Mr. Louis Vega. Now, I'm going to be using some of the disco house tracks from a playlist that I did at the Red Lab, which is this group that I am a part of, and we throw these Friday night jams every Friday at starting at 9 p.m. And you can check us out at twitch.tv/house_nation_music. Now, before I continue, let me take a little pause and I'll be right back. Okay, I apologize for that slight little delay. I just wanted to change my specs, as you can see. Now, the crazy thing about disco house is that it has a tendency of bringing all these great disco songs that we pretty much grew up in and gave them new life. Because, like I mentioned before, it was a point in time where disco wasn't even being played at any radio station, and I mean none whatsoever. And it wasn't, that still came to pass until house music came to the scene, and all these subgenres came forward, and one of the subgenres that came up was disco house, which gave resurgence to disco. So now you have these producers taking old disco, classic disco tracks, and what I would say, housing it up, so to speak, throwing a 4x4 beat, doing all the tech work and stuff like that. So DJs like myself can play these tracks, mix them for people to enjoy, and it doesn't matter if you old or if you new. Disco is the thing. So let's see. Sorry about that. That was my mouth. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take some of these tracks that I have here, and even though the ones I have that also has new disco, I won't touch those tracks, and the reason being because I plan on doing a transition where new disco and new disco alone will be featured. And I also will be doing a transition where funky house and funky house alone will be featured. So today we're only going to focus on disco house. So yeah, let's do this one here. I kind of love this track. So we're going to do that. Okay. So the first track I'm going to play, and also these disco songs, these disco tracks can be played between, usually you can play between 120 to 125 BPM. Today I'm going to play them all at 125, and then I'm going to try, and unfortunately I'm going to have to try to quick mix them, so the YouTube algorithm don't mess me up or try to ding me because I'm playing, tracks that they like. Well, somebody, I don't want to get this channel messed up. So we're gonna do it the right way. So the first track I'm gonna play is called "Free to Love" it's the David Morales Disco Juice vocal mix, and is by, of course, David Morales. I think it's Karen. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Karen Harding, and of course the maestro Louis Vega. And the second track is called "My.T High," like Mighty High, and it's the MS3 full disco slap. And of course, it's by Chicago's own Steve Miggity Maestro. So I'm going to lower up my volume and then change my scene, and let's get to it. All right. I love that. Now, oh my goodness. Hold on for 1 second, please. I apologize for that. That's my mom again. Okay, I know this is gonna be on live, but it's one of those Saturdays today. Anyway, so what I did was, like I said, I had to quick mix it. So I waited until around about the middle of the breakdown before I brought in the second track. So it still was in time, was in beat and all that. So I just had to make sure that I beat matching and stuff like that and let it play, and then make sure I was able to fade the first track out so the second track can show up. So that's how that's done. Now, what I'm going to do now, oh yes. This is a combo favorite of mine, so I have to play this one now. So, make sure I get everything together here. I do. Okay. As a matter of fact, this one I am going to use the crossfader method to do this one. Okay, now, first track is called Spacer. It's a David Lee extended disco fantasy mix. It's by Sheila and B Devotion, and of course David Lee ZR. Second track is called $6 billion Man. It's the Dave Play Out edit. And this one is by AC Soul Symphony, and of course David Lee R. If you don't know who David Lee R is, I'm sure everybody in Europe knows who he is. I know he's a former who used to go by Joey Negro, but he changed that to David Lee ZR, but he's an awesome DJ. He's a great producer, and most of his production has always stems on disco and disco house. He's one of the, and of course him and Dimitri from Paris and others, they mostly focus on the disco aspect of house music, bringing those great old, I'm sorry, I should be showing myself. Here we go. They the ones that are responsible, and others, to bring that disco sound back into the fold and pretty much made the disco house genre to what it is today. So we're going to go ahead. I got everything set up. We're going to turn the volume down and let's get to it. Again, on this one, I'm going to use the crossfader method. I'm sure everybody recognized this track. I mean, especially if you heard the disco version of Spacer. And when I got this track and saw it, heard it, I had to have it because it was one of my all-time favorite tracks. And, you know, this is just music that I pretty much grew up with. I mean, I grew up with a lot of funk, a lot of soul, and then definitely a lot of disco. So it's a nostalgia for me.
We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Better than he was before. Better. Stronger. Faster. 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 Faster.
All right.
So, as you saw and heard, I waited until the first breakdown of Spacer before I brought in the $6 billion man track, and I allowed the words. If you seen the legendary series, the $6 Million Man, they said about Steve Austin, astronaut, a man buried alive. We can rebuild them. We had the technology, and of course they didn't. They cut out some of the parts to to add to the track, probably because of copyright purposes. They wanted to make sure that they wasn't infringing or getting in trouble by playing at least some of the parts, but not the main parts of of that particular saying. But if you have watched the $6 Million Man, you will, and once you hear this track, you recognize where Dave mindset was when he created this particular track. One of my favorite tracks, and these are the two tracks that I enjoy playing when I'm playing disco. So anytime you will see me or hear me, whether I'm playing online or offline, if I'm playing, and if I'm playing a disco set, chances are I will be playing these two tracks. So I just want to give you a key run on that. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, here's another track that I kind of enjoy playing. Let me get this set up, But while I'm getting set up, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when I'm doing another transition series. And like I said before, I do these every third Saturday of the month, and it's always the same time, and it's always live. So you always get the live. There's no recorded here, so like that. I always bring it live. So pretty much, you don't know what I'm gonna say. You don't know what's going to transpire, and all the good stuff, all the good things. So for the next track, the first one, I'm going to play. I'm gonna play "Darling, Darling, Baby." That's the Sweet & Tenor Spin and Tommy's original mix. Of course, DJ Spin is involved in this, and also Tommy Davis, and I think Nia Conway and Randy Roberts is also involved in this particular track. And the second one is called Love Paradox, featuring the Martinez Brothers, extended version. And of course, not only is from the Martinez Brothers, it's by the maestro himself, Louis Vega. So let me, and like I said, from going forward, I will be doing these mixes using the fader method. And if you wanted to know how I mix using that method, why don't you go to the playlist under transitions, find the video mixing using the crossfader, and I explain that in depth and in detail how I mix using the crossfader. So without further ado, we are going to lower the volume and let's get to it.
You're my darling, darling baby. You're my sweet and tender love. You're a very special lady. I said you're the one that I've always dreamed of in a woman. I'll give you all I can give. I'll give you all my.
One of the good things about playing disco is that, and especially disco house, is that I remember back, and I'm sure back in the days when DJs was playing using vinyl, and especially was playing disco tracks. Excuse me. I'm sure they had difficulty trying to mix those two tracks together because remember everything was all instrumental at the time. So you didn't have the technology, you didn't have the the machines that do the 303s, the 808s, or the 909s. You didn't have the drum kits or anything like that to do the 4x1, 4 on the floor beats. You didn't have none of that at the time. Everything was straight vinyl, and you had to practice and mix as is. We now, of course, with technology evolving, you don't have that issue anymore. And now you can take genres that you had back in the day. You can throw a 4x4 beat, and not only you give the audience the nostalgia they crave for, you also get DJs the time, the opportunity to mix and use their techniques to bring those tracks to that audience. So to me, it's a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful day. So now I am going to play my other all-time favorite mixes when I play disco. And I'm sure if you heard me playing on the raid train and when I'm playing disco house, this is one of the tracks that I go to play. Sorry, I try not to play them as much now than I did before, but nevertheless, I do try to play them. So, the first one, of course, Cosmic Witch, featuring Anane, the extended version by Louis Vega and Anane. If for those who don't know, Anane is happens to be the wife of Louis Vega, and she has her own, and she's not only a beautiful songwriter and vocalist herself, she's also an excellent DJ and producer. I had the pleasure of seeing her play last year at the Chicago House Music Festival, and it did my heart good seeing her going out there and showing her wells. It was amazing. And then, of course, Mary Mary Music, Miggity's full vocal chop retouch by Steve Miggity Maestro. This is one of my, out of all the tracks that I do own by Steve Miggity Maestro, this one is my favorite one. It's just it. Every time I play it, I just have so much joy bringing this track out. Now, so I'm going to turn the volume and let's get to it. For me, this track never gets old. I just enjoy playing it. First time I heard it when Louis Vega was playing it on one of his live streams. And I thought that he was going to have it out on Track Source. Unfortunately, he didn't have it out until months later. But when that baby did hit Track Source, I grabbed it, and I grabbed it quick. Sorry, I can't play. Can't play the one part that I love playing on this track. But as you can understand, YouTube. Okay, so, good. I have close to 40 minutes. Yes. So that means I have time to play. Now, like I said, I love playing these two tracks because they go so well. Now, my normalcy of playing is waiting until the breakdown of Cosmic Witch before I bring in the Mary Band music. But of course, since I'm playing it on the Wonderful World of YouTube, I have to make sure I quick mix it. Now, the one thing I love about here we go. The one thing I love about playing using the crossfade method, if I need to quick mix it, I can quick blend it. So I don't have to quick mix it and drop it in, and I can quick blend it. So I can slowly, and efficiently fade out the first track while bringing in the second track and without skipping a beat. So, and that's why when I did it using the up faders, I don't get that same feel or effect but when I used it using the crossfade, and then I have more control of the tracks itself. So when you probably hear me fading out, on the quick side, it's fortunately and unfortunately, it's by design because, like I said, YouTube. Anyway, so now for my last one, even though I am not doing anything that has to do with new disco, but this track here, even though they tag it as new disco, you might as well say it's a disco house track. because it's amazing. And I'm blending it with one of, I'm sure, everybody's favorite track, you know, and also one of my favorite disco producers, and we're talking about Dimitri from Paris. So, the first track is called I Hear Music in the Streets. It's the Michael Gray remix, and it's from A Limited Touch. And I'm gonna mix that with Canned Heat, Dimitri from Paris remix. Of course, it's by the famed disco, I would say disco house, king who pretty much brought this genre back is Jamiroquai, and of course, along with the producer of it was of this remix was Dimitri from Paris. And if you haven't owned or listened to a Dimitri from Paris remix of anything that has to do with disco, you should. He has a plethora library of old classic disco tracks that he remastered, reproduced, turn it into a version where DJs like myself, forgot to show myself. Thank you. Like DJs like myself can enjoy listening to it and enjoy playing it and enjoy mixing it. So Dimitri's for Paris is the person you really want to go to, especially if you into disco house. He's one of the producers you definitely want to make sure you have a large number of his production, his tracks in your DJ library. So we're going to lower the volume and let's get to it. I'm sorry I couldn't play the rest of this track because if you, I'm sure everyone heard Canned Heat, probably heard the original one. The original one is amazing, but the way Dimitri from Paris did it, it's beyond beyond. So, looks like, okay, I got about 15 minutes. So, I think what I'm going to go do here, I'm going to go ahead and get my 6 tracks going. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do one. Usually I will use different tracks to do my 6-minute mini mix. But today, today, during the new year, we're going to do something different. I'm going to take the tracks that I have already done. I have it in an order where I can go ahead and do my 6-minute mini mix. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get everything set up. And what I'm going to attempt to do, I'm going to play, it's going to be Spacer, followed by $6 Billion Man, followed by Darling Darling Baby, followed by Love Paradox, followed by Cosmic Witch, followed by Merry Man Music. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Merry Man Music will be the last track I play for my 6 mini mix. I know I may get dinged by YouTube, but it's the new year. Show some mercy, new YouTube. I will appreciate it. So, without further ado, let's go. Couldn't finish the whole thing, but I'm pleased, happy, and glad everybody came here. For all the new viewers and the new subs that sub here today, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you for your support. Please let everybody know that Transitions is here every third Saturday of the month. And it's at the same time, noon Central Time, 1 Eastern Time, an hour, and it's always live. Next month, not sure what I'm going to throw next month, but next month is my birthday month, so whatever it is going to be something pretty special, and it's probably going to be something that I've been wanting to tackle and wanting to present it to you guys. So, I know it's about 5 minutes ahead of schedule, but unfortunately, I got a couple things to do today, so I'm going to cut this short. But like I said, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for being here. If you know anybody who's a DJ, either they're a new DJ or upcoming DJ or DJ that has a lot of experience and still wants to know new tips, new tricks, new methods on their DJing to continue on their DJ journey, please bring them over to here. And as always, I happen to be House Said Speaks. I'm coming to you live from the Chi-Town, Chicago. Thank you all for gracing me with your presence and your attention. And I hope everybody have a wonderful afternoon, a great Saturday, Sunday. If you happen to be in the Midwest area, especially in Chicago, make sure you stay warm because according to the weather, as of tomorrow and Monday, it's going to be freezing cold. So make sure you check your loved ones to make sure they have the right heating to keep themselves warm. Make sure you do the same as well. Peace and love to all, and I will see you all on the next one.